has been huge for me because I've been remote viewing into 1587 when this map was made, Urbano Monte. So before the lands became ice, they used technologies to freeze and create an Antarctic wall. These lands that are directly at the Antarctica walls in these 1400s, say the 1000 millenniums, there have been these rulers. There's actually even images on this map. Interesting enough, some of them look similar to the races that they're right under. We thought that it was perhaps just the English and the Spaniards that spread out and conquered just about all the indigenous places that they could find, specifically North America, South America. These families, basically 7, 9 families that we have heard about, they didn't come from England or Spain, came from these outer lands. The indigenous were conquered by these outside races. If you look here, you're going to see a centaur right under the Americas. You notice that there's no man governing these lands. When you're looking at this map, you will see that every other land has a man governing the lands. I do sense that there are some benevolent people still there, perhaps part of the Tierra Infinita ancestors. What I'm seeing is this grand battle that happened. It was these mans out here that ruled these other lands, then went and attacked this sacred land. What they were doing here in the centaur location is that they were providing a force field for the indigenous people to carry the Atlantean information. Once they brought that force field down, then they were able to conquer. What they did is that they split up continents. How many continents? We have 7. How many families are there? Supposedly 7. Once they came out from the outer lands, then they completely split up the lands inside. And they came up with these New World Order diabolical plans on how they were going to continue to control. Going back to the map and those men's, they got compromised by negative aliens. This is how we talked about with A.U.R.A. Eisenhower, AI alien invasion. These dark grays and reptilians and dark compromised the men that were the rulers, basically gave information these men through their consciousness, downloading it in like you would do with a computer, because they were matching vibration to these dark forces, especially after they went and conquered and killed and raped these children and women, burned them to death. I personally have indigenous memories and they were horrific, you all. In fact, they would take children and after they rape them, they would toss them in piles and burn them alive, and the children were screaming. This is how disgusting and horrible these men were. Christopher Columbus didn't come from, say, necessarily Spain or England. He actually came from the outer lands, and it wasn't just him. It was all these families that are part of the New World Order, depopulation of Earth.
Is there any information about the crystal skulls that workers claim to have found in a pyramid in South America? And are the crystal skulls for real that they found?
When I tap into that energy, it feels dark. It doesn't feel like it's a benevolent consciousness that's speaking through this crystal. I know an alien race that is very dark that has this elongated head, and they're part of the dark Anunnaki. And I feel that they went through and placed these crystals in these locations to compromise the locations. I do not feel that they're positive in nature, and I would personally myself would never connect to one of these crystal heads. Now, do I believe that there are positive crystal heads? Yes. They're not like grays. They're these tall, slender things with the elongated head, and they have these mouths that go teeth inside of them, and they expand almost as big as their face, a little bit like demigorgons. Those specific ones are related to them and planted to invert the human race through different pyramids.
What is going on with the great aliens, AI, they're breeding in Chicago? Since they are inorganic, besides keeping one's frequency high, how do we get rid of these as they're controlling the people, causing them harm, and harming others?
These grays, they're half organic, half AI. They make them like those artificial wombs in their labs, and then they spread them out in different locations, but they really like to be in their gray UFO disc ships that then abduct people constantly. They're puppets to this Archon thing, and they're just on a program that it has downloaded into them. Because they're part AI, it can download these programs of what it wants to do and how it wants to eat off the light. It's never going to get full because it's an emptiness of light, and no matter how much light it feeds into itself, ultimately it's never going to be light again because it separated itself from source of light. The biggest thing is to continue to communicate about these dark aliens that are harming people, abducting them.
If every divine and universal law has been broken here, why and how could an advanced civilization watch the continual abuses?
What's going on is that since we have free will, we have to honor your choices. If you are being abducted, most likely you decided to allow that in some form. You start remembering your dreams. You start remembering, oh my God, there was this dark entity that tried to infringe upon me last night. But because I had my shields, I was able to remember that they tried to do it and I was able to stop it. So once you start surrounding yourself with source of light, stepping into your sovereignty, your empowerment, then you're vibrating a higher vibration. So you're calling for assistance. So benevolence cannot overstep your boundaries. You must ask for help. And that's when they are allowed to come in. Only negative entities do not need you to ask them for help. Those are the ones that overstep your boundaries. You chose that path, so they have to respect your free will. If they overstep the free will, then they become archonic and parasitic in nature themselves.
Where is the Artemis, the space rocket that was just sent out? Where was that going?
It was definitely going into the outer lands. They said it's this one that they went to. Oh, okay, so right under Australia. There are experiments going back and forth. They're doing something there. They got some kind of technology going on there. I see these structures that are really weird looking. They remind me of the Archon thing. They look like multiple beings and they're all sticking out like, but guys, it's really creepy. So what is it? Why do they send the spaceships over to these lands? Well, one, they have to keep on the persona that supposedly we're going to outer space through these spaceships. Black market. Something's going on. They're storing something in that spaceship that is bringing something out from here to there. But
what I'm seeing, Aurora, it's like those are the specific portals to the areas they need to go, so they could just transport them. Like the people who say they've, had those experiences on Mars with the secret space programs.
So what I'm seeing is an important metal or mineral that they're taking on the ship.
Okay, someone asked, are there two suns?
So there are two suns. When you look at this map, there are two suns. See here, there's a sun here. And this sun here, see, it goes around what they would call the equator, right? Specific places that are near the Arctic that the sun doesn't go down in. So some of the places like Norway will have months where the sun never goes officially down. The highest portions of Canada, Iceland, Alaska, Finland, and Sweden sun. So the other sun is out here. See this? And it spins around for these lands. I do see that though the sun has been bifurcating energetically, just like the earth and the moon. And if sometimes these suns would energetically somehow align and we would see different formations in the sky that are causing this. So even though we in the organic can feel the sun and its potence and its beauty, and we know that it's sourced through it, there is some kind of filter that is technology.
What you thought about the videos of the different volcanoes that are erupting in Indonesia? They saw a face of what they say is a goddess. And what is the symbology of the goddess appearing in a good natural event?
Yeah, so that's Mother Pele, or Divine Mother, that you're seeing through the volcanoes, because she doesn't just connect to, of course, Hawaii. She connects to all volcanoes, and there's different goddesses that are essences of these mountains. I do feel and see that the volcanoes, with this energy that erupts, they're transmuting the dark energy on Earth. So that's why you're seeing goddesses in the formations within the volcano eruptions. I personally love lava and fire myself. It just feels so wonderful. When I went to Hawaii, I laid on these lava rocks and they just completely rejuvenated and gave me rebirth like the phoenix. These are the most sacred symbols and embodiment.
So we live in an illusion like the Matrix. What individual event will trigger our ability to see what is real beyond the green screen?
I think the biggest thing is the flat earth, guys. So when we start questioning and looking at all these things that make absolutely no sense, I think the biggest thing is what they've told me is really realizing that we are in a flat earth because we're in a third dimension and because planes of existence are layered on top of one another and they spread. It's interesting too, because the minute that you talk about flat earth, the people who are so programmed to it being a globe, they attack you. They're so pissed off. They think you're absolutely insane, and they won't even listen to what you're saying that is actually very common sense.
Some believe that going to the light after death is a trap. To me, I always felt it was through the sun or wherever it is we need to go. What do you think?
Through the heart, inside, inwards into Mother Earth is how we're ascending out. Though souls do come in through the portal of the sun. It's always inwards, right? When we go inwards in through our hearts, then we connect inwards into Mother Earth's heart. And then at that point, that's that gate. We call it the underworld, but again, false programming. The Egyptians, the guardians that guard these sacred energies, they're guarding her till in this moment in time, and they'll guard this sacred energy until we ascend out. And once you're matching vibration, your heart to that portal there that ascends you out, then you're out. We used to go out through the sun though. In the past, it was changed, especially with the fall of Atlantis. It shifted, and then now we go inwards through her heart of mother.